She called you out on that Anne Frank reference.
Even in Hitler's Germany, you could cross the Alps into Switzerland. You can hide in an attic like Anne Frank did. I visited in 1962 East Germany with my father and met people who had climbed the wall and escaped. So it was possible. Many died doing it, but it was possible. Today, the mechanisms are being put in place that will make it so none of us can run and none of us can hide.
You then apologized. Can you and I agree that Nazi or Holocaust references are never appropriate because then they diminish what truly transpired in the Holocaust?
Well, first of all, Michael, in that case, first of all, let me say, I agree that we have to be careful about how we invoke the Holocaust. But, it's a difficult, it's just on a theoretical or hypothetical basis. I don't know if you can have kind of hard and fast rules about that because, I grew up in a generation where, right after the World War II, where everybody was saying, never again. And the only way that we make sure that that kind of barbarism doesn't happen again is if we're allowed to talk about it. And if we're allowed to, if we are able to recognize all the milestones of tyranny, and that exercise may require us at some point and may be useful to invoke historical wrongs, including the Holocaust, the American Native genocide, Black slavery, and the many atrocities in history. But I want to say something about that case. In that case, and that's a good example of the censorship, I never compared the COVID mandates or the COVID response to the Holocaust. That was a media canard, something that the media made up and charged me with. And what I was making a completely different point about the rise of the emerging rise of AI, of artificial intelligence and surveillance technologies, which was creating an infrastructure that in the future totalitarian systems would be able to surveil us and intrude and control our lives in ways that had never happened in the past. And so because
I know,
of that,
but you invoked,
let me just finish.
You invoked Anne Frank.
Well, I invoked her not comparing the Holocaust to the COVID, mandates. I wasn't doing that. That's what the media reported. That was not true. And I ultimately, because of the damage that was happening to my family, and because I was living in a world where nothing I said was reported. So I was not allowed to defend myself. In fact, this is the first time I've ever been allowed to talk about it on TV. Nobody would talk to me. Nobody would allow me on. Nobody would invite me on and say, why did you say that? And ultimately, I had to apologize for something I never said.